Welcome back to Midnight Grappler, Animals, home of Flub Nation, and it has been the home of Flub Nation for 100 episodes now. I'm your host, Lan, and with me I've got my co-hosts, Keigen, Serg, and since Salt's not here, we're recreating Salt in the aggregate. So we've got Guy, our Bricks correspondent, Guy from Brazil, on this episode. We're here celebrating this monumental 100th anniversary by going back to 0. Specifically, Yakuza 0. But before that, how are we doing today, gentlemen?
Living the dream.
Yeah, I'm doing well.
I guess.
That's it. We're all living in Keigen's dream.
We're all living Keigen's dream. It's Keigen's world, and we're just living in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
As a resident white man right now.
As the resident old.
Oh no. That's true.
Yeah, Keigen, you are outnumbered.
Are we woke?
There goes our viewership.
Yeah.
No, I'm a white Latino, so I'm like halfway there.
Parisian.
The Parisian demographic listening to this. Yeah. I think like the third largest demographic when it comes to our Spotify listeners, at least, is Brazil, though. So
amazing.
There was a while where we were like pretty significantly popular in Japan, though. So amazing. I think that was because of Toku Tuesdays, but yeah, it's been a long journey, specifically 2 years, I guess, but we're here now, 100 episodes in. I think I'm the only person of this crew that's been here since the start, which is, it is kind of awkward doing this episode without Salt. I feel like we should have just like recorded a segment with Salt talking about the 100th episode. You should definitely do that
afterwards.
Insert
it in right now. Just like abruptly cut to Salt talking.
Yeah, I'll give like a segment to Salt where he can like say like a few words from Salt about our 100th episode.
We here at Midnight Grappler Animals Company.
A statement. This is Salt embark.
We're flipping with joy.
But coming off of New Horizons November, we decided what better way to celebrate our 100th episode than by doing something we've never done before on this podcast and talking about a video game. And in thinking about that, what's a game that I could actually get you guys to play that I've wanted you guys to play for a while, and by making it work would force you guys to play for the podcast. And I came up with Yakuza 0. So I think it was in like June that we started drafting up this idea. I was like, well, we've got like 20 weeks until our 100th episode. Why don't we take that time? I think 20 weeks is more than enough to get through Yakuza 0. And so I started playing in like July and only finished it like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I don't know, when did you guys start playing for this episode?
I don't remember. I think September, but I stopped and then didn't really get all the way into it until like end of October, I think.
Search?
I think I booted it up in July and then didn't touch it again until like the end of September. Like I started like the first fight, I was like, oh, that was fun, I'll come back to this, and I never did until September.
I think that was my case too, where it's like I did like the first chapter in July, and I was like, well, yeah, I got other things to play right now, so I might as well just do that and then come back to it. And then like around September, October is when I was like, okay, well, those 20 weeks have turned into like 5 or 6 weeks now, so I really got to start logging in. It's a funny case for me because I was playing on New Game Plus, but for you guys, Serg, Keigen, this is your first time playing it. Guy, this is not your first time playing it, but I think it's your first time in a different way, right?
Yeah, I played it on the Xbox first, and I played on the PS5 this time.
Wow. So what you're telling me is that there are games to play on the PS5.
Well, there are PS4 games to play on the PS5.
Some PS3 games.
I think Yakuza 0 is actually the last game that I played on PS4 before handing it back to my brother. Yeah, let's do a quick intro of like the Yakuza franchise before we get into the meat of this episode. The Yakuza franchise, or otherwise known as Like a Dragon or Ryuga Gotoku, is a long-standing franchise that's about to hit its 20th anniversary next year. It started with the release of Yakuza, just Yakuza or Ryuga Gotoku in 2005. It was directed by the guy that made Monkey Ball, Toshihiro Nagoshi. It was written by Masayoshi Yokoyama, as well as another author whose name I'm forgetting right now. I should have had that written down. But it was a very big departure from Sega's catalog at the time. And it was pretty new and novel in that it was a video game that portrayed the lifestyle of the Japanese mafia, aka the Yakuza, and this soap opera-esque storytelling format has lasted for several decades at this point, or a couple of decades. And yeah, I mean, there's been a game almost every year for the past 20 years. Most of these games take place in the year they came out in. So Yakuza 2, which came out in 2006, takes place in 2006. Yakuza 3, which came out in 2009, takes place in 2009. But this game, Yakuza 0, which came after Yakuza 5, which came out in 2015 to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the franchise, goes all the way back to 1988 in the middle of Japan's bubble era to tell a story of a much younger protagonist Kiryu, as well as a prominent side character Majima, making this the first game where players could play as Majima. Zero is an interesting case because the Yakuza franchise in the West had always been very much of a niche up until that point, and sales were very consistently dwindling throughout the PS3 era, where by the time you got to Yakuza 5 in 2012, that didn't get a physical release at all. So Zero was sort of a Hail Mary for the franchise, and it was a rousing success. You know, it is one of the most popular games in the franchise for a reason. It brought in several new players, or several hundreds, maybe even thousands of new players into the franchise, and is considered one of the best in the franchise. But it's not a game that everyone has played, and that's why I've brought it to the table for us to play for this episode. What are your first impressions? Like, here's my question, specifically to Serg and Keigen. What prevented you from playing the franchise up until now, or getting into Yakuza up until now?
Long as hell. That's it. Just the longest. I knew about it in general, but also through you. I think you wrote something about fishing or mahjong in one of them.
Was this like on
something.
Twitter or for?
I don't know. For a newsletter, maybe? You talked
maybe
about
a newsletter.
Fishing.
Yes.
And it was
the fishing minigame in this game. Yes.
It was like, that sounds cool. I don't play games like that. I don't play games that are going to take me that long. Or like I'm gonna want to complete, and like a lot of it you talked about like wanting to complete the game, and it was like, that's cool. But at the same time, I had purchased it already before this, so I had Yakuza 0. It was on deck. I just was like, when do I start this? So this was a good excuse to play it. And again, because of you, I already knew like 0 was going to be the starting point. Really, that's because of both of you, Guilherme. I knew 0 would eventually be a starting point, and like, okay, maybe I keep playing after that. But yeah, the biggest thing is like, I know there's like 7 of them or whatever. And
well, I think at this point there's 9 mainline titles, and then I think like 2 or 3 spin-offs. Like
long games on their own.
Not all of them. I mean,
so you see it, it's still
it's a matter of commitment,
right?
Like for instance, Yakuza 6, right, which I completed recently. If it weren't for the side content, that game would be like 10 hours max.
Okay.
Right. So much of these games are like it's a commitment thing, right? Where like however much you want to commit to the game, that's how long you are going to spend in the game. And I think there is that almost FOMO element where if you don't go through everything, you're not getting the full Yakuza experience. If you don't play any of the sub stories, you're not getting the full Yakuza experience, right?
Yeah.
Like if you were to go to How Long to Beat, I can't imagine any of the main stories of these games taking longer than 30 hours. But yeah, it is the side content that gets the playtime up there. Search, what about you?
I think with a lot of these things, it's always intimidating to like jump into a franchise that like has like not only like a long history, because I mean like, you know, I've been aware of Yakuza games for a long. I think it's hard to be like in gaming space and not be aware of some of these bigger franchises that have been around for a while. But like knowing where to jump in, and sometimes it's not even like the best starting point, like story wise, is not always the best starting point for like what you're looking for in a game, right? So it's always like tricky, right? Like you know, like if someone was gonna jump into Assassin's Creed right now, I'd say don't. But if they insisted, I would say but you know, like I would ask like what they're looking for, like history wise, right? But like I think it's like that. It's just kind of like it's a lot, and it's like, well, if I get committed to this, I'm hooked, and I'm gonna have to play like several other games to to go through this all. And so I just kind of get leery of jumping into long franchises because I have that kind of like addictive personality where I'm like, man, I'm gonna need to find out everything about this. You know, like so it's just tricky, I think, with that. Whereas like you know, and like you guys were talking about it quite a bit, so I was pretty excited to play it. I like Yakuza movies and stuff like that too, so it's like, you know, it's like right up my alley. So it's like that's also the part of like I know I'm gonna get hooked when I play this because it's just like it's in my niche of things I like to watch and play. So
Right.
So yeah, it was kind of like a good like thing I knew I was going to get into sooner or later, just trying to figure out the best way to get into it, I guess.
And Guy, when did you get into the franchise?
Back in the PS2, I think it was 2007, maybe, like a few months after the release on the United States, I think.
Damn, so you played like the original PS2 version of...
Yeah, I didn't complete it because it was a hard game for a kid, and I didn't speak English. So, like, I had no idea what to do in the game. But I played, like, a bit of it.
The truest gamer is logged on.
Cool.
I mean, well, like, it's also... Brazil, like you were playing that in Brazil too, right? Like, what was the experience of like getting these games down there?
Well, I don't know if you remember, but I showed you a picture of my CD that was like a complete bootleg. Like,
yeah.
Most of my games, like I had no original games when I was growing up. So I don't know. The cover looked cool, and like I don't know if I picked it myself or if my parents bought it for me. I don't remember. But like I don't know. I had so many games, like they were all disposable, really. That one was I thought that one was a cool game, but I just couldn't get into it. So later, when I was growing up, I kept seeing people who kept up with the series, and they were playing on the PS3 and so on. But it was like really niche, like a small game, right?
Right.
On the West, at least. I went back to the series after Zero and the first Kiwami remake. It was like I think I played I went back to the series in 2019, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me it was like a pandemic era thing because again there was a lot of free time to kill, so I figured, well, I think there's no better time for me to get into a franchise that will take me a long time to complete than
Might as
now.
well sink in 100 hours.
Right. Like, you know, the pandemic sucked. You know, it was an awful time. Lockdowns were still a pretty good time to get into things. Like it was a great opportunity because everything had paused. So I took that opportunity to get into this franchise, and now I've played, well, as of this recording, I've played 7 of the games. So I played 0 to 6.
Amazing.
And yeah, like 0 is just such a unique experience in and of itself, especially comparing it to what came before it in many different regards. Because like by that point, again, this is back in 2015, right? The previous game was Yakuza 5. Going from 5 back to this was like such a weird experience for me, because like going from 5 different protagonists to just 2, to like 1988, when you're missing so much of like what makes Kamurocho. Like there's no Millennium Tower, there's no like Kamurocho Hills. Like the city itself looks so different. But even just the storytelling, I think, is like much tighter and more refined in many ways too. So I think it's a very interesting game to look at as not only a new gamer, but also like someone who's coming back to this after having played a significant chunk of the rest of the franchise too. So why don't we get into mini games? We'll ease ourselves into talking about the actual like story things here, but we'll talk about the mini games. Any mini games that stood out to you guys for positive or negative reasons?
Can we talk about the carts at this point? The whatever, is that one of them?
The carts. Oh, the pocket circuit racing.
Pocket circuit. Is that a mini game or is that?
Yeah, that's a mini game.
Yeah. All right, I'll start with that because very frustrating. Not a lot of fun, I don't think. And so the other half.
See, you don't have the true pocket circuit mindset.
I think I hated the circuit racing, and there's 2 reasons. One, it's very boring, and it's all about the build.
Yeah,
2,
it is literally just the build.
It's literally just the build, and it's watching and making sure your car doesn't fall off. But 2, so I don't know. I'm not sure what happened, but I got all the way to the Champions Cup, the Champions Circuit, and then I lost my save all the way back to the beginning of chapter 2.
Oh,
like when the very start of chapter 2. And so I had to do all of that again and all of the sub stories too. So I just hated that whole leg of the game because I was just like, really?
But the sub stories, man, the sub stories. We'll get into the sub stories later. But yeah,
So I had to redo all that stuff. And so yeah, I mean, there's fun stuff in the pocket circuit stuff, like that's not the actual racing. The racing's kind of awful though.
The energy of it and the storyline is really what make it. Like the customizable nature is cool, but if you're not actually controlling the cars, it's kind of just like, well, if I just configure this race to be in my favor, then everything will be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Serg, Guy, what did you guys think of Pocket Circuit Racing?
Yeah, it wasn't very. Like I generally hate mini games, even though I appreciate them being in there. So I was kind of amazed at the number of mini games that were in this game. Like I think that's kind of my mindset of it all. It's like, oh, this is a mini game. That's cool that they offered it. I'm not going to do this. I think the only ones I've ever done was that one time I played Far Cry 6, which I regret, and they had the cockfighting mini game. And I was like, I am going to become the champion cockfight fighter.
That's so funny.
There's a cock racing mini game in Yakuza 5. So maybe when you get to Yakuza 5, right, you'll become a full completionist
again. Guess I know my
again.
Next game.
Oh man.
Any other mini games that stood out for you for not a positive reason?
Oh wait, I also hate the disco.
Yes.
Yeah, the disco sucks.
It's the worst.
The disco, it's depressing going back to disco after playing the other games, because like there are rhythm games or like rhythm mini games and the other games that mechanically would have been so much better to like translate into the disco. Like even the dance battles in Yakuza 5, because one of the characters you play as is a dancer. So like you have like these dance battles, which is like rhythm games. And I think that would have worked so much better mechanically for the disco stuff. So I play this on the DualShock 4, and this minigame helped expose just how dog water the D-pad on the DualShock 4 is. Like, it just... like every single time I would like try and input a right, and then it went up instead.
Amazing.
Yeah. And it sucks because the songs are great.
Every just sucks, right?
I mean the PS5 one isn't too bad.
Like, I feel like the karaoke is so much better. Like,
oh yeah,
and I don't get it. It's the same concept,
right?
Just timing, and the thing is moving. I don't understand.
Well, it's the added element of like moving around too, right? It's not just it's not just that you have to get the timing right, and the timing is also different to karaoke too, where it's not like you have to get it, as it passes by. It's like a very weird window.
Yeah, it's so
that you have to like hit it at.
So unintuitive. Oh.
Yeah, and then you have to like do all that movement around it. It just makes it so much more confusing. And again, they've not mastered, but like they've done this well in other games prior to this release too, and since this release too. That like they could have just done that instead. They didn't have to do. They didn't have to go this way.
They're just completionists. They're just like messing with. Oh, you want to play a game? I'll give you a game.
I did still manage to get all three difficulties on all songs for disco.
Wow.
So
look at this guy.
just to flex a little bit there. Just to flex a little
John
bit.
Travolta.
Whatever.
The songs are great though. That's what kept me coming back. Where I was like, I'm fine with doing this dog mini game again if it means I get to listen to Friday night again.
Amazing.
I think the concept is interesting. Like
it
translates the disco dancing into an interesting minigame. It's just not a good one. Like it's interesting.
Good, bad, interesting, boring.
Much to
I
think
appreciate
about.
the concept. Yeah.
A true thinker here. A real critical gamer on the call.
Yeah.
A real
games
thinker.
are actually fun, man.
It's elevating our engagement.
But you know what? The karaoke was really where it's at. And I think the karaoke is like one of the most like not necessarily memed, but like internet known viral elements of the game.
Yeah.
And I knew about the karaoke before like I even played it. Like that this was the game that offered that.
And the song selection here is like banger after banger after banger. Not just Bakami Tai, which everyone knows, but like Judgment as well. Judgment has like a very specific narrative beat attached to it that hit very different for me going back to playing it now, which we can get to later. But yeah, like karaoke is everything that disco wishes it could be.
Fun for one. It's fun.
It's fun for one. I mean, both mini games have great music. But like the ones in karaoke, like it's the fact that karaoke is supposed to be a very vulnerable thing too, where it's not about like if you can actually sing or not. You're just doing it regardless of your actual ability to sing. Now, granted, they've got guys and girls who actually know how to sing doing these songs, so it is very difficult to be like, well, this is the everyman's mini game when you have like Takaya Kuroda singing like the most dulcet tone about Pocket Circuit Fighter, or like Nishikiyama rocking out next to him in like a very, very, I don't know, not auto-tuned, but like it's very well toned, right? Like my one wish for the karaoke, actually I guess it did kind of come true with the recent dubs, but like some of these guys need to be worse at karaoke, you know. Just to make it a bit more realistic. You're a 20-year-old Yakuza buddy. You don't need to be
As you level up, you get a better voiceover singer.
See, that's what they should have done. Like for disco, they should have added like RPG elements that make you like a better you
get
know,
extra
you move
like
your hips around better.
moves.
Yeah, exactly. Like because the dance battle mini game in Yakuza 5 actually did do that.
Yeah.
So again, it's weird. It feels like a very weird regression after Yakuza 5, and I think it's like one of the few cases where I can actually say that. Any other mini games that stood out to you guys?
Mahjong.
Oh,
Are you a Mahjong
do you know
player,
how to
Guy?
play?
No, not really, but I had to do it to 100% when I did Yakuza 2, so
Yeah,
I learned a
yeah.
bit to play.
You learn
Yeah,
the ways.
I was telling these guys before, it's like Mahjong is literally the only thing standing between me and 100% for Kiwami 2.
That sucks.
And you know, like when it comes to completing games, there's a point where you have to realize that like you're just not going to get there. Like I had that realization fairly early on with Yakuza 0, but when it got to Kiwami 2 and I'd completed everything else in the completion list except for Mahjong, and I knew for a fact that I was not going to learn Mahjong for the sake of getting a trophy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's not that hard to just do just to get 100%, but like it's a commitment. Like
it is.
You
Yeah.
don't have to learn Mahjong. You just have to learn enough to do what it's asking you.
See, that's very it's the epitome of what this franchise is, right? Where it's like you don't need to play anything, but if you want the optimal result, right, you should try and figure out how to do this.
If you don't want to go outside for a month, we got you.
Yeah, if you want to listen, have you ever wanted to learn koi or blackjack or CeeLo? Do you even know what CeeLo is? You're gonna learn today. I want to bring up the arcade games too, because the arcade games are a very interesting case where, you know, Sega High-Tech Land did exist in the 80s, and a lot of these games are like real games. Like it's quite literally just the games from those eras ripped and put into this game. And I think there's a very interesting thing going on here where the games that they choose to display in these arcades are games made by their AM2 division. So for people at home, AM2 made games like Hang On, Super Hang On, Space Harrier, Fantasy Zone, but they also made Shenmue, which in many ways is a predecessor to the Yakuza franchise. So I think having the arcade games, not just not just like these classic ones, but in later games, you have games like Virtua Fighter 5. I think it's Lost Judgment that has Sonic the Fighters in it in its full. Like if you were to play Sonic Fighters competitively, you would have to get a copy of Lost Judgment to do it. But again, these are all games developed by AM2, and I think it's a very cool way of showing reverence to what came before, to showcase the evolution too of Sega as a company, right? To go from like arcade games to, now you have these sprawling limited world experiences.
Yeah, I feel like it's a nice nod. I always kind of think it's a neat little addition when games do that. LucasArts used to do that a lot in their old games back in the early 90s or mid 90s. They would put like their first iterations of the games and stuff, and I always just find out like a neat little like extra bit to add in. Yeah,
because like most of the time these games aren't like modified or limited to, like it is like the full game that you can play. Now granted, you have to be good enough to actually play the games. We'll get to that in one of the side business ones, but like, yeah, getting to the end of Outrun specifically, I've never been able to do that. I've never been good enough to play Outrun that well.
Yeah.
I don't like the games that are there, but I like that they are there. So.
Yeah. No, that's what it is. Like it's cool that we get to experience these games, but at the same time, it's like.
I like that the game, like if you are exploring enough of it, it's gonna force you to engage with that stuff, even if like I'm not doing that stuff. Then like you, Serg, I don't care. I'm not playing this old racing game for fun. I'm playing a Yakuza game for fun. But it is fun that the game is like, no, now you're gonna do this racing game. It's like, okay, all right, I'm gonna do it. Like, it's fun that it does that as a thing, you know?
Like there's so much in this game to do, like minigame wise, and I think the game does a really good job of like at least dipping your toes into each of those things, where like it's not forcing you to, you know, play these to the completion or see these like mini games to completion, but you know, at least showing you that they do exist. Because I feel like a lot of open world games even will have all these things packed in, but it's up to the player to actually like figure out where those things are, or even if they exist. Like there are games where a player can go through the entire game without ever having touched a mini game the developer spent like a significant amount of time making. So it's, on a meta sense, it is cool, I guess, that you at least get to, you know, try these games out, even if they're not necessarily good.
It's also like way more appreciated than like the Arkham series, right? Where they'll have like these little mini game or mini puzzles that like you almost have to do them and like they suck, but like you like no, you still have to do it, and you have to do it 5 times. You're like, why? Like I didn't like it the first time around.
Yeah,
so
like
it's like
unless you're going for completion, you're not forced to do any. Like if you didn't like disco, the only reason you would have to go through at disco is because you're going for the completion. But like disco is not required for you to get even like a significant.
I don't know. Well, I guess this is a question that has to do with the cabaret stuff. So I guess that's later. But like,
right, because it is one
disco,
of the.
Okay, and I had a lot of bad trainings. Okay, quite a few.
Yeah, but I think it's balanced well in the like
you get other good trainings. Yeah,
what you want to do in the game. Because like one mentioned Shenmue, and it's the same DNA as Shenmue. And in Shenmue, you had to wait in real time to progress in the story. So the mini games were there to occupy that space. So you had something to do while you wait. In Yakuza, you don't have that. You can just rush the story if you want, but you can engage with the mini games when you want to.
Yeah,
well,
that makes sense.
Like I was playing the Spider-Man games recently, and you know, there are points where the game explicitly tells you, well, you have downtime now. We're not going to give you the next story related thing. So this is the time for you to actually go and engage with the other things in the story. Yakuza doesn't do that. Like there's never like downtime exists.
It does a couple times. Like
there's like a few times.
Yeah. You can wait. It's a timer, really.
Right.
You don't have to complete anything, but like it's there to incentivize you to do other stuff.
Like that, it never feels as mandatory though. Like it's only
it's
happen again.
Yeah.
Like the flow of it, I think, works much better than on a lot of gaming, especially AAA gaming, where you know. It feels like an artificial game lengthener, where in this case it's like, well, you've got time to kill, so
yeah. Kiryu wants to go do stuff. He wants to go have some fun.
Yeah,
you know? I didn't even notice the timer, honestly. Like, I know I experienced it, but yeah, there's so much in the game that it's just like, oh yeah, well, I'll just run over here and whatever.
I mean, this game is also really good at appeasing checklist brain too, where if you're someone that like, oh, I want to get through all of the sub stories before I move on to the next thing, I want to get through all of the side business before I move on to the next thing, I think this game does a really good job of like appeasing that, where you know, like if you have like there's a specific item that you can use to like find where each of the sub stories are.
Yeah.
Where like if you have that installed, you know where to go next, right? Like you can put the entire game on pause, essentially, the entire plot on pause, just to do side stuff for like 10 hours.
Yeah.
I think what was cool about that was also like, because like sometimes like you play a game, you're like, how would I have ever figured this out? Like
right.
You know, like, and they're like, oh, you missed this whole subplot and you missed this whole like event, and you're like, man, I would have had fun playing that. Why did I not know about this? And you know, I like that they do that without like spoon feeding you almost and making you feel dumb. Like, you know, this is like the great you know, that huge debate between Horizon and Elden Ring, right? Where they're like, why don't you tell us where to go? And it's like, well, do we need to? You know, like, but like this does kind of, I think, do a little bit of both, where it kind of gives you a direction to go in without like almost holding your hand and forcing you to go that way in some ways. Like as far as like mini games and the extra subplots and everything goes, like it's like very explicitly, you can do this or just keep going. Like it does, you know, like it's up to you. And I think that was kind of refreshing versus like, you know, like sometimes you play a game and you like realize you missed like a whole third of it because you just missed this one little bit.
Yeah, like I think that also plays into the world building element of it, where because of how much this actually feels like we have two cities here, and both of them feel like living, breathing cities. And I think a large part of that is because you can actually find things to do, even when there's not like, you know, something very heavily significant to the plot, and it never feels like a distraction, right? Because like I think about that adage, you control the buttons you press. Like that is the Yakuza experience, where like so much of this is contingent on like what you want to experience. If you want to spend 10 hours doing dress up with the hostesses in the cabaret mini game, you can do that.
Yeah.
Any other mini games that come to mind, or should we move on to gameplay stuff?
No, let's go to gameplay.
All right, gameplay. So I assume you're all familiar with the beat 'em up genre, like the action adventure beat 'em up genre.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
He isn't?
I mean, Guy still hasn't played Point V, so you know, you never know.
Not a real gamer.
Probably played. Yeah, not a real gamer. Guy has probably played.
He hasn't even played Nier Automata
or something. Actually, that's true. Neither of you, man. So you both are played fans.
I mean, I played Point B though. I played Point B though.
Yeah, and you're the one who's setting all these goalposts up. Man.
Okay, so going into Yakuza, like, how does it compare to other beat 'em ups that you guys have played?
Punching is kind of boring in this game. It gets kind of boring kind of fast. I don't know. I feel like if I really wanted to get into this game more and have more fun with it, I would have tried different styles.
Like, what styles did you gravitate towards the most for both characters?
Is it Tiger style? Is that the
like the Beast?
Yellow one?
Beast? Yeah,
Beast, yeah.
That was basically the one I used the whole time for him. I switched over to the quick punching one.
Rush, yeah.
Yeah, I switched to Rush for a little bit in the middle, but I got annoyed, so I switched back to Beast. And then Majima I switched a lot more, but basically dancing or the bat were mine.
Breaker is like absolutely broken when it comes to like crowd control.
Especially once you get up to the point where you just don't ever get knocked down. Like you take damage, but you don't get knocked down. It's like,
right.
As long as you can hit square 3 times, it's done. Like the whole, yeah. And then the bat was good for one-on-one. So that was basically what I was doing toward the back half of the game. I would just start Breaker and then switch to the weapon. It was easy peasy. I will say that first boss, when you fight Kuze, by far the most difficult part of the game. It took me forever. I didn't realize I had healing items in my inventory.
Oh my god.
Amazing.
So I was just like, once I got to the boss, it just kept reviving me with more health every time I died. But like I made it through that whole part, and I kept like getting really close to death, and then coming back with that amount, and just like I don't even know how I did it. I don't know how I made it through it. But
you're telling me you got through the entirety of that first chapter without realizing that you had healing items.
Yeah. I don't even know.
Incredible.
Like I just died and it was healing me at a certain point. It like gave me more health than I should have had.
It took pity on you.
Yeah. It was like, do you want to lower the difficulty? And I was like, no, this is chapter 1. And then after that, I don't think I died again once I finished chapter 1 because in chapter 2, you're like running around getting beat up by people. And I was like, what am I doing here? So I would like eat food and I was like, oh, I can buy healing items. So
I had a friend who couldn't get through the tutorial boss for Yakuza 3 for a while on normal mode. So, don't feel too bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Serg,
sometimes
what about you?
I like Brawler a bit, quite a bit. That was a lot of fun. Beast was fun. It's like hard because like I was like trying out the different styles, but obviously like Beast just felt more satisfying in some ways and more like
Yeah.
So so like you want to switch. Like, what the hell am I doing? One. Why am I why am I doing this? So but I was also just trying to play like on a deadline, so I wasn't able to like just fully like indulge in all of it. But yeah,
were you able to unlock Dragon style, like the Legend style? Okay,
I don't think I was. Yeah,
I didn't really use it that much.
Yeah, it's like for Kiryu, it's a weird case where it's supposed to be like the styles from the other games, but it's not quite the style from like the previous games either. It's like a weird amalgam, and it's missing like a lot of the classic stuff. But I found in this case it was like a midpoint between Brawler and Rush for Kiryu.
Yeah. The combo is really fun on that one. The like square, triangle is like so fun. It feels so good. The big flip he does is
the flippy kick.
It's sick. Yeah.
As far as how it felt combat wise versus other games, it was all right. It was pretty satisfying. I mean, like, I don't know, like it's kind of weird in some ways because like I said, I kept thinking of the Arkham series and how like they kept trying to do the free flow combat, but like in that series the only way they can handle it and keep doing it is keep throwing more and more people at you, right?
Triangle.
Yeah. So you're just kind of like flying around and it's like kind of cool, but so I mean, this one felt a little neater in the sense that it felt a little more grounded at times. I enjoyed it. It's like funny because I was jumping between this and like Elden Ring, right? So like it was very like hard sometimes to switch between the games. I'm like, no wait, like my muscle memory was like all over the place.
I did not figure out to use so. They teach you all the tutorial on the main, like they teach you one time and then you move on, right?
Right.
I didn't realize for a long time that like X worked for every style to like move. So it literally was just tanking the whole game. Just like, oh, you're gonna punch me? Fine, I'm gonna hit you way harder.
So powerful.
You really were playing like the most ignorant,
unhinged maniac.
And that's why I gravitated. Well, no, because like when I would use the faster ones, I knew X and I would like get away, but I was like, I'm not wasting my heat on this. I'm trying to use a heat action. So like the ones where it's just like boom, 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 knock them down were the best. Were the ones that I was just like, this is especially because it's constantly throwing waves of 3 guys at you until that increases later. But like, yeah, that was just all right. I tried other ones, but it's like breaking it down to 1-on-1 in those fights also takes so much longer. So, yeah.
Now, Guy, what about you? Because you've played the other games in the franchise. How does this compare to some of the other games that came before this, and maybe even stuff after if you've played?
I think it's like Yakuza in general. It's a literal translation of the 2D beat 'em ups to 3D. Like it's not trying to do free flow combos. Like if you play the Capcom beat 'em ups or something like that, it's the same flow because you do one combo with like a few punches and then the enemy falls to the ground. Like it's not you don't have to keep the combos aren't like flowing from one another, you know.
Yeah.
And
It's just like
I think
deal with enemy 1, finish enemy 1, move on to enemy 2, finish enemy 2.
Yeah, like I don't think that's a flaw. Like it's
right.
It's what they were trying to do. It's a very literal beat 'em up in a way that I don't think many games are. Like I can't think of another one that is modern or currently coming out. Like so.
Yeah, it's timeless in a way where even if they're like later games do introduce more crowd control options. I mean, even this game has crowd control options in the way that like you can grab someone and swing them around to knock other guys down.
Super fun.
Yeah. But like even the Dragon
like
Engine game,
circle.
it's so good. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Even the Dragon Engine games, which like take a while to like really get refined. Like I finished like with 6, for instance, you know, that was the first iteration of the Dragon Engine, and you know, not much had changed between that and 0 in terms of like, yeah, you only have the one style now, but at its core, it is still just, you know, 4 times square button and then a triangle to finish it off. You know, there's cool moves, and then of course there's the heat actions. Did you guys have any like favorite heat actions?
The bike was the best. Either one, either when you like first pick up the bike, or if you just have the bike wheel. Oh, love it.
I like the ones where he uses like a knife or a blade, because like the whole thing with Kiryu is like he never kills, but like at the same time he stabbed so many people. Yeah. There's a really nasty one in Yakuza 5 specifically, where like he takes the person's face and grinds it against the ground. Very gnarly, and I kind of wish they brought that one back for this one. But yeah, like some of the heat actions I think are really fun, but also some of them are like really out there or like kind of gonzo.
I like the Majima one. You have to unlock it. It's like a specific one in the bat fighting style where you hit circle to like hurt them, and then you get to activate a heat action, and he like hits him in the head, and then he stuffs the bottom of the bat into their mouth, and then he kicks them in the chin. After. Yeah, it's so sick. It's so good.
I think Majima has my favorite heat actions in this game. Like there's the one where you can unlock for Breaker where you get one guy to kick the other guy in the nuts.
That's it.
So good. I like how it just maintains that sense of fun, but like still kind of makes it like again, like kind of the combat feels kind of weirdly grounded in that way, right? Like so it's like not like, even though it's over the top in a specific kind of way, where it's like this could technically happen. You know,
I mean, you can pull that out on World Star, you know?
Yeah. So, like, it did feel like fun in that sense, too. Whereas sometimes you play a game, it's like fun. And, like, some of the fun is because that would never happen. Whereas this is like, yeah, I could see someone, you can see, like, a weird YouTube video, like you said, World Star having that happen. You just feel like a weird World Star guy annihilating people.
The heat actions also do a really great job of feeling satisfying, too. Like when you pull a heat action in a boss fight, you know, and it's like one of those like really long protracted heat actions too. There's a real nice sense of satisfaction, especially if that boss has been giving you trouble, where you're like, yeah, take it. You know, like that is a very like primal thing that it unlocks within me.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun. Like just to go back to my initial statement of it's boring. I think maybe there are so many like meaningless combat encounters in the game that I was just like more tired of it because of that.
Well, you know, Keigen, you could have circumvented it if you had just thrown
money
some
so
cash.
Much. I threw so much money. Okay,
it's so awesome that one of the features in this game is that you can just like make it rain to prevent fights.
During the real estate stuff, every time I had like a stoppage of money, I would just run around and I would just throw money around every corner. I was like, I don't want to see it on the map. Like, no.
Oh, speaking of heat actions, when every time you finished off a boss in the real estate storyline and like the money's flying in the air and Kiryu just like grabs
So fun.
a bunch just to make a fan. Oh, so good.
And those are good fights. Those good fights are really fun. They were like more challenging. I also think like once I had money, you dump it into ranking them up, unlocking everything. So like that back part of the game was just maybe a little too easy also, where I was just like, yeah, I'm locked in. I know how to do my combos on my like.
Yeah, when you're making like a billion yen every 15 minutes, it's much easier to like, I think that's a fascinating thing about this game is like, so how much of it is centered around money, like your experience is tied to money, your businesses are all tied to money, because this is the bubble era of Japan. Everything's going absolutely fantastic. Everyone's got a whole bunch of money flowing around, because like in the other games you have like actual experience values, but I think it's a very conscious choice to tie things like getting out of battles, getting into battles, upgrading and stuff like that to the money flowing in this game.
Yeah, I think that helps with like the world building vibes too of it all. I think like in a very clever, like small way.
Right. Like it's a multi-pronged approach where you're trying to like showcase just the not necessarily even gaudy, but like just how much people were able to throw away money. Like at high season or high like peak hours, taxis would cost like 10,000 yen instead of the regular 426 yen. And that to a regular person, that seems like a lot, right? Like $100 just to go around the city. But in 1988, that's like nothing to them, right? Like that's not even a fraction of the money you're making at your peak in this game. Any other gameplay things that we want to talk about before we get into the world building? Because I feel like it's a good segue into the world building side of things.
Let's go for it.
All right. Yeah, so this takes place in two cities, two districts within two cities, Kamurocho and Sotenbori, which are based off of the real world red light districts, Kabukicho and Dotonbori, respectively. Since this takes place in 1988, it's all made to look like it would be at that time. What did you guys think of the virtual tourism aspect of this? Because I feel like a good, like one of the things that the Yakuza franchise is known for most is like giving people the ability to go to Japan without actually having to go to Japan in like small bursts. So yeah, like
GTA though to the United States.
Yeah, well, they're not at the, I don't think any of us are at that point in the franchise yet.
It was cool. I thought it's. I'm always appreciate when people like put in that kind of detail into games. So yeah, I really like that idea, and like you said with the world building, it's just a lot of fun. And I think like a lot of people talk about world building in shows and movies and books, and like don't really articulate what that looks like or what makes it work and what doesn't. I think like the attention to detail, like the games, like I said, the throwing of the money, just these like little things.
I mean, I think one of the things is like that got in the way of that sort of thing is it being a period piece. Right?
How's that?
Because it's like I'm not ever going to be able to be a tourist in late 80s Japan, right?
Right.
And so it's like it's like a period piece though in that way, or it is a period piece in that way where it's like, okay, this is cool, like it feels authentic still. So it's like, I don't know, I guess it's probably comparable to like Ghost of Tsushima in that way, where it's like this is a fictionalized thing that doesn't exist really, right? But like,
I mean, I think in this case it's like closer though, because again, even if it is like a fictionalized version of Kabukicho and Dotonbori, like if you were to compare pictures of those districts to like the places in the game, it's very close. Like I would say almost like an 80% closeness. Like even brands and specific businesses from the real world show up in here, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like
that's true.
high-tech lands did exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I find it interesting in that, like, you know, not just for this game with the 80s, but like even the modern games where, you know, they have to keep updating the city to fit what's going on in the real world Kabukicho and the real world, again, all the other parts, because Yakuza 5 had 5 different cities to play in, and they're all based off of real places in Japan. And it was really cool because, like, you got to see like the differences in cultures too. Like, you know, Dotonbori or Sotenbori in this case is in Osaka, whereas Kamurocho's in Tokyo. So like even regional differences, like dialects too. Like I remember specifically for Yakuza Kiwami 2, where the Kansai dialect, they translated that as like a Southerners dialect for the text in that game.
Yeah, that's sick.
But yeah,
I do want to point out though, like I think that attention to detail is appreciated. I think like you know, it's like you don't have to go, you know, they didn't have to go that hard with it, but like I said, like that and the concept of world building, often like people can't really point to things when they say, oh, this is fantastic world building, whereas I think in Yakuza you can with like again like the fashion or the mini games or like even like karaoke or disco, right? These things are like distinctly dated and timed, and like the landscape too. So it's, I think all of it working together is pretty neat to see in that
Mm-hmm. So much of it works in confluence with each other.
Yeah,
like even plot wise, like later on you get to see West Park, and you know that has its own level of world building to it as well, where like that is like the primary location for the homeless population in Kamurocho, and like it shows how the disenfranchised move within Japan too, because like I think especially for a Western audience, that's not something that people think about often. It's like, what is homelessness like in Japan? Like what are red light districts like in Japan? And I think that while a lot of games want to show Japan in a more idealized, like Keigen, you brought up Ghost of Tsushima, right? Like that is a very idealized depiction of that specific era of Japan. Yeah, we must honor the
last samurai,
the way of Bushido. You know, this one is like, yeah, no, the streets are literally dirty, right? Like there's piles of trash lined up across the street. And you know, you have people barking at you, you know, offering you pocket tissues. All right, like some of the people you encounter, like some of the enemies that you encounter can be like, you know, punks, but also people that have like so much money that they're willing to just beat people up for the sake of it. Right, like there's so many small details and so many like very intricate touches that make this feel like more than just your average world or gaming world. And I think it does it better than a lot of open world games even.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned GTA earlier, I think. And I think that like the big difference is scale, because this is able to pull off such a more real location than like even Vice City, because Vice City is so sprawling relatively and like mostly unpopulated. I feel like, at least my memories of Vice City, I haven't played it in forever. And so I think that definitely lends to it, because you have like 100 bodies walking around the city as you walk, right? You know, same people standing still and everything, but it just feels like bumping into the people is always really funny, and like it just gives it so much more life than a lot of games are able.
Yeah. Len mentioned that the world feels like alive or lived in, and I think that's true, but it's in a different way than when you say that about other games. Like people say that a lot about Red Dead Redemption 2, because you can see the nature evolve.
The horse balls.
Yeah.
You can see them take a crap too, and like
like the cities keep getting bigger, and you see the whatever. And Yakuza is in a way very static. Like there's not much interaction between the elements, but it still feels very much alive in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't need that simulation to evoke this feeling.
Like, it's fascinating because it doesn't put as much effort as something like Red Dead Redemption 2 into simulating the world, but at the same time, it somehow feels more deep and more thought out in that case.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, it's like I was saying before with like open world games. Sometimes it's like, this is as close as you get, I think, to being open world without actually truly being open world. But it feels much more vibrant of an area. Like we were saying before, there's often a lot of cases of dead space in open world, and sometimes that's by design, and I don't have a problem with that so much. But like, sometimes it's just literally like, this is just an unimportant area, and I, you just don't get that feeling, and I think that's kind of neat because that contributes to like, I think the sense of place, right? Where even if it's not like, I don't know, as like appealing or fun or whatever, I don't know how we would put it in a game like this, but like, it still like has somewhat value or has somewhat of like a consciousness of like being a real area, I think, and like I think of the Jedi Survivor series a lot now in comparison to this, where like some of the worlds were like kind of just blank or boring, and like, some of the parts were kind of like a little blank or boring, and like I enjoy the game a lot, but it's like also not all of it's like well thought out, it feels like, or like if it is, it's like to transition to another spot, and I never really got that sense here with this game.
Yeah,
some open world games don't need to be open world, like Spider-Man, for example. I think it could be a super linear game. The fact that you can like web sling around the city is cool, and it's the only reason why the game is open world. Like there's nothing to do in that. It's
just a playground for you to do that.
Yeah.
Well, in the case of Spider-Man 1 specifically, it's like they have to put so many like little completion metrics in there, like, oh, you've got to find all the landmark tokens, or you got to find all the backpacks, because like without that, so much of there's so little to do, right? Like, it becomes a matter of being a checklist where the only way you can make this open world feel open is by putting very like small menial tasks within it. Like, I think in terms of like
annoying,
side
right?
stories. Yeah,
like,
it does. Like side stories.
Because you're like, I got to go across the town for that? What the hell?
Yeah, like going...
Stupid open world.
Like I got to go to each of these districts and take, 5 pictures of like 5 landmarks just for the sake of, adding to a completion metric. So I can say that I've 100% completed this district.
I do not want to help the cops build their surveillance network. Please stop.
Oh, God. It's the Ubisoft Tower thing, right?
Yeah.
That stuff would be better if there was a sub-story tied to it, If like, hey, the bugle, you stop by the bugle every 5 or 10 pictures, and somebody yells at you. Right,
if you built out like a story, like there are completion metrics in Yakuza, right? Like that's not, it's not to say that those things don't exist in this game, but I think the fact is because these games are so narrative heavy, they find a way to tie a narrative around the things that you're doing. Like the small menial tasks that you're doing have like narrative significance where you are still gaining something on a more fundamental level than just, oh, I'm doing this for the sake of completion.
That sounds right.
I also don't think that in Yakuza the combat is the main way you interact with the game. Like the combat is just as important as one of the mini games.
Right.
So
it's a means to the end.
The city, it's like
it feels like
the city is the game.
Yeah, if anything, it's like the combat's kind of like almost like a smoke screen to like disguise the rest of like this really well thought out game.
Yeah.
Like it's
something to do.
Like it's it's like
violence was
this is
never an option.
Yeah.
They put combat in my adventure game. They put combat in my walking simulator.
Yakuza is a true Dungeons and Dragons game, is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like when Team Fortress 2, when everyone would play that, and there was a joke that it would be like a murder-based hat simulator or a hat collection simulator, because it was just like the joke was everyone only played it for the hats.
You know, going back to like this being the sixth game in the franchise, one thing I found really cool was seeing how different parts of the city would change between games. Like, there's a small detail where later in the game you find the offices of one of the clans. It's specifically Nishitani's clan. Their office ends up being the office for another character's business down the line. Like, it's the exact same office, it's the exact same location. And there's like small things where like when you play these games, you get to see like, oh, that used to be there, but it's not there anymore, or that got replaced with this, or like specifically here where that area where the Millennium Tower isn't is like an almost like a Kowloon city kind of thing where it's this like maze of like small inroads that you have to go through, or like Little Asia even. Yeah, like it going from game to game, it feels rewarding in some ways where it's like, oh, so that's how they changed the city this time. Oh, so that's what restaurant survived into the 21st century. And that, you know, like Wild Burger is still, oh, Smile Burger is still around. Oh, Wild Jackson didn't make it into the 21st century. Oh, was there something that happened that caused Sushi Zanmai to close or to open or whatever, right? Like, your relationship to the city changes with each game, and I think that's another thing where like the more you commit to this franchise, the more you get rewarded in that sense. You know, like being able to experience the differences that happen and the changes that occur. It's like coming back to your hometown and you're like, oh, so that shop isn't there anymore, or they moved locations.
Yeah.
So you say all that, and like, and I was thinking about this during the whole playthrough because, and especially at the end, right? The end during the credits, it talks about what, like,
oh, where are they now?
Where are they now? Stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because this is a prequel, right? So like, it's a good jumping on point because it's you know, new, updated, blah blah, blah whatever. But I'm like, I can't imagine. There's so much stuff that happens here, and I don't even mean in like the Leo pointing meme way, but like that is obviously more effective, more impactful if you have played the games that came out before it.
It's I don't know. I think there are two different experiences that you can get if you have played this game, like have played the other games in the franchise before this, and if you haven't, like again, Zero was my first game too, right? Okay. So when I played it initially, I was playing it
either. I don't feel lost in any way.
But I think it's an interesting case where you can get different experiences out of this depending on like where you are in the franchise, where like even if you haven't played any other game in the franchise, there's still like a really fantastic story being told here that doesn't require you to know what happens in the other games. But, you know, like for me coming back to this, having played those games, you know, like seeing characters from those other games and like knowing how those relationships play out, even like stuff with Nishiki, every time something happened with Nishiki in this one, I was like, oh, Bubby, no. Like, I think it does add to the tragic element, I think, for a lot of these cases, but I don't think it's required, right? Like when we're talking about like the full experience or like the full enjoyment that you can get out of this game, I don't think you need those other games. Like it's a reward thing, right? Like the more you play the franchise, the more you can get out of this, or like the different ways you can experience this. You know, there are more ways you can experience this game, right? But you know, that goes for any of these games, right? Like you can jump into Yakuza 5, you know, it's not like you're missing anything per se, because everything you need for that story will be presented in that story. So these games are good in that sense, but like there is a reward for staying committed to the franchise and like seeing these things from start to finish. But I mean, on that note, I guess we might as well get into plot stuff. And on that note, if you have been listening to this so far and you haven't played Yakuza 0, this is the spoilery section of the podcast. So you can stop now. Stop listening. Go play the game and then come back.
Hit subscribe and then stop
hours.
listening.
Hit subscribe.
Stop listening.
We'll see you in 100 hours when you've finished.
Yeah. Let us know
Don't come
how
back
often
till
you
you
cried.
finish the disco.
Yeah. Don't listen to this podcast unless you've played at least up to normal on every song in the disco. All right. So plot stuff. We'll do side business stuff first, then sub stories, then the main plot of the game. So side businesses, there's 2 side businesses in this game. There is the Real Estate Royale, which is Kiryu's main side business, and then there is the Cabaret Club SAR, which is Majima's side business. And I think it's kind of clear. I think it's kind of clear which ones the devs put more thought into. So Serg, I want to get to you first, because you didn't get to experience the entirety of the game. But how much of the side business stuff did you get through?
I did a bit of it just to get a feel for it, and I just kind of moved on real quick with it. Like, trying to think of how far I got it. There's so much in this game. I'm trying to like get my mind straight about what I did, But I don't know. I got a feel for like what was going on with this stuff. So like, it was cool that I was there. I really appreciate like the side businesses kind of existing. It's funny like to like have that as a thing, because usually you just have like really weird grinds, like to make money, right?
Right.
Like in other games. So yeah, it was kind of neat because I was reading about like the side quests will also help with that, right?
Yeah.
So like I was trying to read about this too. That's why I'm kind of like thrown off on what's what. Like I kind of regret not doing it. Like this is like why I'm like, man, I should go back and play some of this more, because the side businesses aren't really like superfluous in the way the mini games are, and sometimes in other games they're often framed that way.
Well, like they're so plot
like
heavy in this case, right? Where like there is a very strong narrative arc going through all these,
and they also like allow progression, right? So I found that really interesting about it all too. Yeah. So I kind of regret not doing it, but again, I was trying to like just kind of like play this as get through as much as I could. So yeah, I kind of want to go back and try it all out again.
Nice. Guy, what about you for side business stuff?
Most of Curious, and I did almost none of Majima this time.
Really?
In this walkthrough, this playthrough. Because in the previous, I did everything. Yeah.
For me, it was an interesting case where, because it was a new game plus, there were certain elements that were maxed out already, which made things quicker. Like for the Real Estate Royale, all of the businesses are already like whatever you had in your previous save file. So I had all my businesses maxed out. So I got that part was so much quicker for me this time. But like actually getting the businesses and actually like having to, do all that, like the narrative part of it was still reset. So yeah, that was an interesting case. What about you, Keigen?
Yeah, I mean, comparing the two, it's like one is a waiting simulator, and one is a waiting simulator, and one is a serving simulator. No.
Yeah, one is Diner Dash.
yeah, and like the Diner Dash was very fun. I did more than I needed to on that, even though it was like Thursday, and I was like, deadline is approaching. I like still did a ton of the I did it. I was gonna max out all the platinum hostesses before I did the Club Moon battle, but I was just like, no, I'll just do all of the trainings. Like every time you do a training, you have to run a night or whatever. So I played that more than I had to, and then the real estate stuff, I really was just like trying to find stuff to do as Kiryu, especially in those early times where the wait is like more than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then Guy was like, dude, just read. Just leave it idle and read a bad comic. I was like, oh. Yeah. So
like,
that's
I wonder
everything.
how much of my playthrough is just me waiting for Real Estate Royale, right? Like,
yeah. And so I did that. So like it was one night I was playing last week, and I had just finished it, and I was just like, I don't really have enough time to like it was late, and I didn't want to go do more missions, so I just let money accumulate for a while while I like did chores and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think the real estate stuff was also more frustrating because like, yeah, there will be a time when they just stop the income in one of the areas, and you have to run all the way across the town, fight real quick, and then run all the way back to collect the money. And then that stuff's annoying, especially because like in the cabaret, it's like a completely different thing, you know? So it's not like, if you're going to go do a fight, it's because you're trying to mess up the club owner. You're trying to beat that person up. Versus like the real estate thing, it's just like, okay, I have to run across the town and beat up some goons. I did like when the other owners, the other kings would like, you would have to go and like, you had to go to the disco, or you had to do the phone call, like that stuff's super fun.
The phone call. I'm surprised I'm surprised no one brought up the phone call mini game. We were talking about the mini games.
Yeah,
actually, that's the phone call mini game's fun. It's
like that one and the cat fighting. I'm surprised neither of those were brought up during the mini game section, because like both of those are required or not like required, but like you have to go through
the cat fighting.
Yeah, for disco.
Right. Sorry, I was thinking of a literal cat.
But I missed that one.
Yeah, because it's the cat fighting mini game.
Like, what the?
What? I missed the most important part of the game.
Razor blades on a cat in this?
Wait, no, hold on. You do still experience the cat fight stuff in chapter, or no? You get to see it in chapter 6, right? But you don't actually play the mini game.
Yeah,
you don't force you to.
You get.
But they're like, hey, if you go down those stairs, you can make a bunch of money. It's like,
you can
really?
make a bunch of money, and you get like it. All these games have like the mandatory horny mini game.
Yeah, and this one has 2.
And this one has 2. So
the phone call is also just like
the phone call is great because it's so goofy too.
It's so funny. It's really good.
Yeah, like that's what I mean though. Is like in terms of the game showing you all these different elements that they've developed for it. Like the side businesses do a really great job of showcasing that. Like. And it doesn't really punish you either, where like there's no way I'm getting 3 million points in Outrun, right? But the what's it called? The penalty for that is only losing 10% of my area, which I'm gonna get back anyways in my next battle, right? So it's like it almost feels like training wheels in that sense, where it's like, okay, we're gonna give you this opportunity to play this mini game. You know, if you're good at it, that's great. If not, oh well, a slap on the wrist. But you know, it never feels like, oh, you need to be like the best at disco to get through this side business.
Yeah, I think that's also part of why the side businesses do feel more like a main part of the game than a lot of the other stuff in general, because it does force you into stuff that like. There's no reason for you to go into the call center unless you're just like a curious person, like walking by the
right. No.
Okay,
no, I get it. I get it.
You know, yeah.
Yeah,
unless you're a real freak. Hey, it's the only way to get a girlfriend in the game. Okay.
Not true. I mean, you know, if you go through to completion in the trainings. Did you not get to that point with the hostess trainings in Cabaret Club?
Oh, so. I went on a date with everybody. Okay. But like Majima doesn't think of those as dates. I don't think.
Which is the funniest thing. Like every single hostess is like fiending for him, and he's like, "Huh? What?"
Yeah,
amazing.
Which I mean, good for him. He needs to be committed to his woman, you know.
Yeah.
The cabaret club is just so much more fun.
It's so
like
much.
The game itself,
like the girls are so fun too. You meet all of them and you do the trainings. I mean, and it's like the radio stuff is also really funny, which is connected to both. Which is another thing of like why that feels like a main part of the game too, because it like encourages you to go do more of the sub stories. Because even though there's like more than 3 that will follow the prompt, it's still like you have to do enough at least to be able
right, because there's like only 3 that really get you the ability to get red on the show.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Serg mentioned, like some of the sub stories also unlock hostesses for you. Where if you did every sub story up until the point where you unlock the cabaret club side business, when you leave the cabaret club for the first time and you like take a left, there's like a huge procession of like women from previous sub stories.
The old lady becoming a gold cabaret club.
It's so fun. It's so good,
dude. She's so good.
And she's like one of the best ones too. Right?
She's one of the ones I maxed out because I was just like, damn it, she's really good. Like, it's so funny. I also, the cabaret club, I was like, the guest comes in and you look at what they want. And I was like matching that manually instead of just looking at the face next to it.
Yeah,
for so long. And I'm like, what
again,
the hell?
Keigen, you're like playing the most unoptimal.
I know.
You didn't know that. You didn't know that the health items.
This isn't how I live my life.
Like you remind me of that TikTok. It's like I can't keep learning things this way.
It's my favorite TikTok for a reason.
He was going for total immersion.
Yeah, I'm like,
I learned Japanese to play this game right.
It's
like I didn't understand what they were saying, and the subtitles weren't really helping. So
this is just who I am. Okay. There's nothing I can do about it. No, it's truly that for a while I was like, good thing this is unlimited because I can go through all 8 and make sure they match up. Oh.
On the note of like, I guess the horny side of things and also the side story side of things, I think it was a very neat touch that like all of the platinum hostesses in Majima's sub-story are like real life people, like real life adult video actresses, and you get like entire sub-stories and like you get to know them more on a fundamental level, right? And I think it does a really good job of like humanizing a lot of red light district work, right? Like the people actually working there were like, you get to know about like, oh, I'm doing this to support my family, or like, I don't know how my family will see me if I do cabaret club, like I'm doing this to support my dad. My dad wants me to, get married and settle down, but I don't want to do that. Like, I think the Majima side business works better because there are people to bounce off of, like with those kinds of stories, whereas Kiryu doesn't really have that. Like, he has his main 2 sidekicks for the side business, right? But like, aside from their plot, you're not really getting to know like your advisors. Like, your advisors and your security and your like business gurus are just people you meet in other sub stories. But yeah, like aside from that, you don't really get that like that same kind of emotional attachment that you do with Majima's side business.
And I kind of feel like this is a huge game. This is a ridiculous game. I literally played for 101 hours. Okay. How much of that was just idle? I don't know. And I only got 46% of the game. Okay. So like, again, not optimal. I definitely wasted a lot of time in this game. But like, so anything I say that be added is a ridiculous request and blah, 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 whatever, yada, yada. I do feel like the game being so much about community, and especially the main story being about like building community, protecting community, using Tachibana to help people and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I do feel like and the real estate stuff is about that. Like fundamentally, that's what they're trying to do. but I feel like like I would have liked to see an actual change in the districts. Or it would have been
like
nice
even
to see a
even the
change of,
businesses
like,
too.
yeah.
The next time you go to that store, you know, you actually see and I guess it is asking for a lot out of an already huge game, but
ridiculous
you know,
game. Yeah. But it's part of like why the cabaret feels good and the real estate doesn't, I guess. And yeah, I mean, it's a ridiculously huge game, and I think it still pulls off all those themes. But it would have been fun to see it in the world too, though.
You know, there is something interesting about like Kiryu's business being like the above board business, and that being the one that nets crazy money.
So much money.
Whereas Majima is working like the red light district and has to actually like put in work, and he only gets like a fraction of the money that Kiryu makes. I feel like there's some very interesting meta commentary going on there.
Yeah. I do think gameplay wise, like all the stuff for Majima is lower cost in the upgrade trees too. It's like, so there's definitely that. But also, I think in like 30 minutes of play in the Cabaret Club, you can still get 1 billion. Like, pretty easily, especially if you're
a true Cabaret Club czar and you know what you're
doing. I have 6 max platinum. Hostess is okay. I'm killing it every night. We show up.
I've got like 20,000 fans in the Moon District. I got no problem.
Yeah, I think I just like played so many in the Moon District because I was like, I only lost the first battle I did, and I don't ever in the Mars District or whatever. And all the rest of them, I grinded it out before. So I was like, no, I'm not dealing with this. You're gonna lose.
Nice. You know, it's nice that all the side story and even the sub story stuff can be done within the first 7 to 10 chapters of the game. Because I think like after chapter 10, that's when you really got to start locking in for the plot. So I think they played it smart too, where they knew where they wanted to, you know, where they wanted people to like take that time to do the side stuff, and where they wanted to have players focus on the main plot of the story. And you know, like that's something that I guess it only becomes the case if you're someone who's like focused on completing everything before moving on to the next step. But like, you know, if you're someone that's just taking it casually, you'll still have a lot of straggling sub stories and whatnot by the time you get to the last chapter. But like in terms of like the flow of it, and you know, like how much they dispense at you, you know, like they did that flow pretty well. How do we want to do sub stories? Do we want to just keep? Do we just want to lob out the sub stories we really liked?
I think that works.
Okay,
I don't know.
Let's start throwing some out there. Which ones did y'all really like?
The first note I took in the whole game, the first thing I like set down the controller, I was like, I need to type this down, is the quote, "Lady, you're the anti-boner." So I feel like that's where I have to start. Because that was like, there's so many of the sub stories that are so like nothing. Like you just happen to walk down the street and triggered it. And like, it's so fun. It's like it's so natural gameplay too. Cause it's just like, whatever. I'm running between these point A and point B, and I happen to run by this thing, and now I'm going to talk to this old horny lady, and it's great. It's super fun.
They also allow the characters to be at their goofiest too. Like that's what I mean when you think about like the contrast between the serious stuff and the goofy stuff. The sub stories is where that's really happening.
Yeah, it's kind of impressive that they maintain a sense of humor. I feel like there are times where Red Dead Redemption tries to do that with some of the subplots, and it just sometimes it works, sometimes it just kind of feels a little like goofy in like that it doesn't quite work. Like when he's like dying of tuberculosis, and then you stop and do like a quest that's like, haha, like, you know, like you're like laughing about it. You're like, this doesn't make any sense, but okay, you know. I
mean, there are ways to do that in Yakuza too, where like you can, you know,
there are ways to get tuberculosis in Yakuza.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there is cancer. There's a whole game where you can play through as a person with cancer. But like the fluid nature of like when you can actually tackle these sub stories means that you can get to like a very serious point in the story, and it's like, oh, you need to get to West Park immediately, and you're like, you know what, let let me help this kid find this video game that he really, really wants instead.
Or
let me go help Michael Jackson for a little bit.
let me help this kid get some porn.
Yes. That is genuinely one of my favorite sub stories, just because like Kiryu is like so ready to be out of it, and then the kid guilt trips him by like loyalty.
He's like, imagine if I was him. Imagine when I was a child. It's just like
he's like, wait, if I walk back on this, then this will go against everything that I've been fighting for the past like 7 chapters.
Ooh, so funny. And like not easy. It's like
no. Like the whole thing with like you have to get past all those women.
There's so many. That's all a bunch of women too. It's so funny. Oh, no,
every single time they're like, "Oh, he's a pervert. He's a real freak." It's so funny when the game just drops random tidbits of like pure gold in some of these sub stories. Like there's this one line in one of the early sub stories where he says, you can't judge someone just because they don't conform to society's standards of sexual normalcy. And you're like, wow, what a deep quote. And you find out that it's from a sub story about like selling girls' underwear.
Hey, she was good. She was real good manager though. Okay, am I? Did a good job.
The Michael Jackson. Oh my
so
god!
Funny. So
Jones
is good.
I like how for the Steven Spielberg analog, they didn't even try to hide it like at all. Like that guy is like almost 1-to-1 a model of Steven Spielberg.
I mean, the Michael Jackson, he just has one glove, right? Like it's
I mean, it's pretty close. It's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one of the best.
Yeah. There's 2 sub stories in this story. We were talking earlier about like what you get out of this game if you've played other games in the franchise, and there's 2 sub stories, actually 3, sorry, where that actually is the case. All of them feature characters that show up in the other games. 2 specific ones, and specifically it's Yakuza 2.
Yeah, they're kids, right?
As kids, the one with Daigo and the one with Ryuji, where Ryuji is this like 12-year-old child here with the body of like a 30-year-old, and the whole thing is like his whole thing is that he's funny. Like, yeah, it's Majima trying not to get his pants stolen by him.
Yeah, and he's trying to rescue someone else's pants, and he's like, "You're a high schooler bullying a child."
It's so funny because you can actually beat him up too. Like the whole thing, the whole sub story is contingent on you beating you beat up a 12-year-old.
I didn't know he was 12, but I beat his ass.
It's like that Always Sunny sequence where they're beating up kids.
Yeah. And then he shows up again for the Kiryu sub-story, because there's a sub-story where Kiryu encounters a fortune teller.
The fortune teller also goes in the real estate.
Oh, yeah. And she's like, oh, you're going to become a taxi driver, and you're going to encounter someone who's going to change your life very, very soon. And then he bumps into Ryuji. He was like, there's no way.
Yeah. No, the Daigo stuff was fun, too. I really
the Daigo,
that
okay, so
get beat up, kind of. You know?
The Daigo one made me very sad because, like, initially it was like, oh, that's funny, you know, like the son of the patriarch is like this very prissy Victorian child, right? Like he's like, like a total brat, right? But now that I've played other games and like I've seen where the storyline with Daigo and Kiryu go and everything that they've been through, and then I start thinking about like my own relationship to my cousins around that age, and then I just get like very, very sad going through that sub story. So that was one of the cases where like going back to this game hit way different for me than the initial playthrough.
Your cousins bully you, man.
No, my cousins dress up like Victorian children.
Oh no, you have to bully your cousins.
Oh no.
You're forced into the position.
You know,
Makes sense.
after finishing Yakuza 6, thinking about that sub story, just you know, I tear up thinking about it. You know, he's just a kid that wants to be loved. You know, and his dad is a absolute piece, but it's okay because you're his dad now. Yeah, that was a very touching sub story to go back to. There's actually some really good tear jerkers in this, like the doll girl one. I don't know if you guys played through that one, but that one's a tough one. Yeah. That one's a tough one. And one thing I found really interesting was that like the sub stories that Kiryu and Majima got also played into their narrative themes too. Mm-hmm. Where like a lot of Kiryu's sub stories were related to like loyalty and commitment and like, oh, I'm gonna help you see this through to the end. Like I'm gonna help Pocket Circuit Fighter become you know, like this very respected man, or like I'm gonna help Pocket Circuit Racing, you know, like really pop off. Mm-hmm. Or you know, like even the shrink wrap dream one, right, where it's like I need to show that I need to show this kid that adults aren't just here to disappoint them. You know, I need to show my commitment to that. Whereas Majima's are all related to relationships. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna help a boyfriend propose to his girlfriend. I'm gonna pretend to be this girl's boyfriend for the sake of appeasing her father. So it's like, it's an interesting way of building out the narrative too, like the main narrative too, where it's like it never feels like an absolute distraction, where it's like you can get something very deep and narratively significant by going through these stories with these characters. Yeah,
it gives more weight to the themes for sure.
Right.
More body to them.
Munan Chohept Onast.
Oh yeah,
that's good. That one actually has a follow up in Yakuza 6, which I thought was really fun. Actually, there's a lot of these like follow ups in other games too. Like Pocket Circuit Fighter shows up in Yakuza Kiwami as well. Then I think he shows up. Oh yeah, he shows up in 6. You can recruit him to be one of your fighters in Yakuza 6. Oh. Yeah. And then I think he shows up in one of the recent games too. But yeah, like again, it goes back to the more of like the more you play this franchise, the more you're gonna see these like they're small Leo pointing moments, but you know, they're good. Any other sub stories that you guys really liked?
I like the kid trying to get Dragon Quest 3. Because I'm trying to get a copy of Dragon Quest 3 right now.
Oh, damn.
I also can't
you
find
are that
it.
Kid?
So,
you
are that
kid. Gee, what about your dad? What about your dad?
Your dad.
What does this mean?
No.
Yeah, he's trying his best.
But is your dad a part of the Brazilian mafia?
Not that I know of.
Okay, because if it does, that does throw your position as a BRICS correspondent into a bit of a conflict of interest. Some of these sub-stories are also related to like friendship meters too, where like there's one for Majima where there's a like quite literally a porn video store clerk that you have to build out a relationship with. Yeah, and like at the end of it, there's a sub-story where it's just you two watching the Ring video.
That's
amazing.
That's so good.
It's so awesome.
It's so funny.
Like there's a whole bunch of like small, like some of these you don't even get to experience unless you've like actually built out some various things within this game. Like even the Doll Girl sub story is like you technically pass the sub story when you meet her, but at the same time, like you keep going back and you build out that friendship, and once you max out, that's when you get the payoff essentially.
Mm-hmm.
For that sub story. You know, there was the one sub story which I found was really funny, where Majima is inadvertently responsible for the economic market crash.
Oh, Yeah,
1992.
the taxi
That's
is
so
really
good.
funny. Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah, that one's funny because you like save his life and you're like, wait, you, why did I save you? Oh, that's good.
Yeah, by the end of it, he leaves, and you're like, wait, surely that's not going to have any ramifications on the economic state of Japan in coming years, right, guys? Yeah, so that one was really good. Trying to think if there's any other ones that came to mind. No, I mean the Zero has a pretty good selection of
there's
sub stories.
And
There's a lot
like,
to like.
There's very few that I was like, this is such a slog. It's almost always just like, oh, I happen to re-engage.
And they're all
it
really
when
quick,
it's time.
right? Like you can finish a sub story within 15 minutes at max.
Except for Pocket Circuit Racer.
Except for Pocket Circuit
Took
Racer.
my entire life.
That
Because I played an entire game's worth of game in that series of sub stories.
it's so funny how some of these like side missions or side stories or mini games can be their own games even, and yet that's just like a one portion of this game. Like later in the franchise, you know, there's an entire Mario Kart mini game that can be its own thing. There's like an Animal Crossing, there's Pokemon even. Like people are looking elsewhere. People are looking at Crazy Taxi, right? People are looking at Fortnite as becoming the forever game, but what they don't realize is that the Yakuza franchise has always been the forever game.
It's been right there this whole time. You just have
Been
to
right there under our noses. I mean, you don't even need to do that now, you know, because they started dubbing the games after Yakuza 6. So, you know, if I mean, oh, you know what? One more thing about sub stories before we get into the real plot of the game. Playing sub stories has kind of ruined side missions in other games for me. Like I mentioned the Spider-Man side stories earlier, where it's like it feels so underdeveloped even compared to the sub stories in Yakuza, where like going back to the side missions in Spider-Man, like the first Spider-Man game now, and it's like this feels so, I don't know, it just feels like padding almost. Whereas I never feel like that's the case with the sub stories.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's Spider-Man 2. I don't remember side stories in any of them. There's one series of side stories in Spider-Man 2 that I'm like, yeah, that was really good. I liked it in comparison to Yakuza. But I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this in the Like a Dragon episode, or Like a Grappler episode, whatever. And it feels like the sub stories are in a lot of ways the meat of the game too. So
in most games like Spider-Man, it's just an excuse for more gameplay, and it's not really what they're trying to do with Yakuza.
Right.
Yeah, here it feels like the game design is to do as many of the sub stories as possible.
Yeah. Like it's not mandatory, but at the same time, like it is
like
the Yakuza experience.
Like,
yeah.
Just because so many of them are triggered just by walking by something, and then it's like, well, now I want to engage with it in this way. I'm gonna. Yeah,
it's so funny how many of these you can just like literally walk into. Like very early on in chapter 2, when you're trying to get from one place to the other, there's like a 90% chance that you're gonna walk into one of the sub stories. The punk sub story.
Yeah, I hit the punk one like immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. But most sub stories they don't have much gameplay, so they have more in common with like a visual novel than with, like you could translate a sub story to a visual novel, but the story itself or whatever, it justifies itself to make you want to play them or see them or whatever, interact with them.
Right. It's a very narrative thing. Like there are very few sub stories where like they're introducing a new mechanic specifically for that sub story.
I mean, I guess this is like the different schools of thought, right? Because like Spider-Man's a good example of like these are sub stories that are like just kind of almost to extend your time in the game versus like, you know, like the Arkham series, right? The Batman Arkham City and some of those ones where you're like actively trying to go find these other people and see what they're up to and like solve these mysteries that are going on. You know, like, and I feel like that tends to have a better payoff, even though sometimes that's a little harder to situate. So I can see the difference in that sense of it. Whereas like you said, like you could just be walking down the street and, oh, what's this? Or, oh, that's going on, you know, almost.
Yeah. And like, I think the consistency of the sub stories is the thing too, right? Like all of them.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a single sub story that was just like, oh man, that was such a waste of time. You know, all of them are funny enough or fun enough or whatever enough that I'm like, this is just playing the game. Versus there's definitely side stories in the Arkham games that I was just like, I kind of like didn't need the 100% that bad. Like I could have stuck at 99.5.
Yeah, you know what? Exactly. I'm good. Like that's the give up point where it's like,
I think Red Dead is probably closer to Yakuza. Yeah. But even that one I think has a couple that I'm just like, and it's just like, I'm good. I didn't need to.
I don't even like dinosaur bones. I'm done.
I don't need to find all those, man. Like, they can
this shit's boring.
Yeah, they can figure that out in Grand Theft Auto, man. Like, I don't need to be dealing with this.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into main plot stuff, because you know the plot really is the meat of any of these games, right? Because they're soap opera games. They're soap operas, but with gameplay surrounding them, really. So, I guess we can do Kiryu's side and then Majima's side to tackle, because you know they both end up intertwining near the end, but I think early on they're pretty separate. So yeah, I guess we'll start with Kiryu's side. Like, well, what do you guys think?
I mean, it was cool. It was fun. I think it took a while to really click for me. The sub stories were the fun of the game for a long time, where it was just like, I don't know, I don't care to engage with the thing that much. But like even as early as chapter 2, I do think it started clicking in. Probably like the Tachibana stuff early on was fun, where it was just kind of talking about like the way,
who is this guy?
Yeah, but and
who is this mysterious guy that can turn off all the lights?
Yeah, that, and also like the way posing him versus the Yakuza and Kiryu trying to figure out how that is affecting the people of Kamurocho, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like that was probably the earliest point where it was like fun. But yeah, I don't think I was super into it until things started popping off with Makoto and all that.
Yeah. I mean, Kiryu's is an interesting one where it almost feels like a meta commentary on the Yakuza film genre.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
It definitely felt like more of an engagement with the Yakuza genre as a thing. And like, some of this, like, it was fun because it was like, how do we get as close to telling a cliche story without being a cliche about it? So like, just his whole storyline of like, the urgency and like the framing and all that, like it was just, I don't know, it was fun, but it was also like, like you said, it was just kind of like, with the other character, with Mashima and all that, it's like also, engaging like the Yakuza genre. Mm-hmm. And like, it's almost like how can we tell a different story while telling the same story over and over and over again? And I think that was kind of a fun aspect of this. And obviously, I do feel like, with some, especially with their storylines together, the characters themselves, like it would have been fun to play other games and become familiar with them. Because I do feel like I was missing some things on it. But
I mean, not really. I mean, Majima's the interesting one in this case because he is such a far cry from how he is in other games.
Yeah.
But like,
he's not the mad dog yet.
He's not the Mad Dog yet. Like he didn't. This is the Surf Dracula, but from Mad Dog style.
Play 100 hours to see the Mad Dog.
But like, I think with Kiryu's side, the big thing is really just his relationship with Nishikiyama.
It's harder to see what Kiryu's arc is in this compared to Majima. That if you see the character, you already know he's a different man than what he'll become.
Right. Like Kiryu isn't too far off from what he'll become, right? But like Majima is just a completely different character because this is like the lowest point in his life. Well, I guess second lowest. We'll see when we get to recent games. But yeah, like with Kiryu's thing, it really is like Kiryu's already so predefined in a lot of his ideals that it's very difficult to like deviate from that heavily without like fundamentally changing who Kiryu as a character is, right? Because so much of his like thing is like he is so dogmatic about his ideals, right? Like he will stay through and stick to a person no matter how far gone they are. He'll be loyal to them, right? So I think what they do instead for Kiryu is like, okay, so who is he loyal to, and like what does that mean? What does that get him into? Right? Like his loyalty to not only Nishikiyama but like Kazama, the Dojima family, even, right? Like his loyalty to Tachibana. I think it's in Kiryu's case specifically, it's like, how do we show off the Kiryu mindset? And then Majima's is more like, okay, so how do we take this man that everyone, people that are familiar with the franchise know, and how do we like flip him on its head? Like, how do we flip that concept on its head and like showcase a different side? Because again, up until this point, Majima hadn't been playable in any of these games, right? Like he would be a boss in some of them, and you know, he'd be involved. Like for 4 and 5, he's barely there at all, right? Like he shows up maybe once or twice in both of those games. So for this to like go all in deep on his character and be like, okay, so this is who Majima was in 1988. It's not the Majima you know, now experience what it is to be Majima. Kiryu's side is also very interesting.
It feels like Majima's game. Like Kiryu is just there to be a mainline Yakuza because it's Majima's game.
Yeah,
right. No, you're right. Yeah,
Majima's part was is better. Like, yeah, and I mean, I think like to that point, it definitely like Kiryu is kind of the straight man of the thing. Like, not that it's a comedy duo or anything, but like this is a more straightforward. Like, what is happening is what's going on. Like he's living through the plot versus like Majima, where it's like you're just watching this dude who's balled up his insanity, like just slowly becoming Joker-fied, and like and it's good. Like it is.
This is a man who's already been Joker-fied, and you're like, how can we make him even more Joker-fied?
Yeah. So you made.
How do we get a Joker too?
Yeah.
What if the Joker became a manager?
What if the Joker worked a dead end job?
He just wants to take care of his employees. No, actually, he just wants to kill people.
With Kiryu's being so much more like straight laced, though, I think it does open up for the franchise to do a lot with like, again, the meta side of it, right? Like when you think about like the 3 bosses or the 3 captains, each of them represent a very specific era
kind of
Yakuza
guy I want to
filmmaking.
punch. A very specific kind of guy I want to punch really bad. Yeah, like Kiryu.
And, you know, also it's really, really cool that for those 3 guys, they got actors who are very well known for their roles in Yakuza movies. Like Riki Takeuchi, who plays Owano, was like one of the premier faces in Yakuza films in like the 80s and the 90s. Same with what is it, Hitoshi Ozawa and Hideo Nakano. Like Hideo Nakano specifically was in Beat Takeshi's Outrage series. But yeah, like each of those guys represent like a very specific era of filmmaking. Like Kuze is supposed to be like the noble Yakuza, you know, like, oh, you need to do things by the code. If you don't do things by the code, you need to be punished. You know, like, oh, I messed up, I have to cut my pinky off. Awano is like the very delinquent, no holds barred, you know, like, the Yakuza can do whatever they want. You know, like, this is a Machiavellian world and I'm the king of it. Whereas Shibusawa is the more like cold, calculated Yakuza, you know, like the more modern Yakuza, who's not really interested in like the theatrics, but more so like control and subjugation. So yeah, like on a meta level, I think that's where Kiryu comes into play, where, you know, they're 6, technically 7 games deep at this point. They're like, okay, well, we need to take a step back and figure out what exactly is a Yakuza game, right? Like what are we doing here? Because like I think by the time they got to Yakuza 5, they're like, okay, well, we've blown this up to such a degree where you have 5 protagonists, 5 different stories. The stories are very, very convoluted at this point. Let's just take a step back. Let's breathe. Let's figure out why we started making these games in the first place. And I think that's what Kiryu's side is.
Yeah, and I mean, Kiryu works as a introduction, as an engine, you know, and then Majima gets to be the character, and that's a solid reason to have 2 leads. It's a good like mechanism and stuff, and then like I also the breaks. You know, if you play like me, you mostly use one play style, then like I'm not using the B style. Now I get to use Majima styles and engage with all that other stuff, and I think that's good too for as long a game as it is to break it up into kind of 2 similar games. Was a good move because I think that helped a lot of that stuff to old.
Mm-hmm. I like how it like shifted every 2 chapters too, but when it did, it still summarized you on stuff because like sometimes you'll spend like 10-20 hours with one character and you completely forget what happened prior. So it's nice that they're like, okay, well, we know that that's gonna be the case. What do you guys think of the villains in this story?
I really wanted Sagawa to die.
Oh, Sagawa. Yeah.
And it's so disappointing in a good way when we get to the end. And I don't even mean the actual like what happens to him as a character. I mean like that
where he ends up with Majima.
Yeah, that Majima was just like, yeah, you know what? You're not even like you were there with me. You weren't there for me really, but you were there with me, and that's fine. It's like it's really satisfying that like through the whole middle part of that, I was just like, I hate this guy. Stop being mean to Goro Majima. Like, but at the end where he's just like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. It's just like, it's good. It's like a good illustration of the whole thing, his whole chain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, him and Kuze are like the 2 best antagonists, and they at the end point you don't even feel like they are
antagonists really.
By the end especially. Yeah. Kuze rolling up and hitting it. Like, what the hell? The motorcycle. It's like the most evil thing. Like, I can't. That's so mean.
So you know what's really funny? I didn't realize this until I was looking through like an all bosses cut of Yakuza 0. Aside from Shibusawa and I think like one other character, Kuze is the only boss that Kiryu faces. Every single boss fight that Kiryu has in this game is Kuze.
It's so funny too.
Amazing.
It's so funny. It's just like on site between those 2, and even by that one, I wasn't having that much difficulty with him. But it was like the later ones, it always happens in the street, and I'm like, dude, all I have to do is grab a sign, and it's over. Like you're nothing to me anymore. Like go to sleep, Kuze.
You know, the recurring boss battles do such a great job of showcasing just how powerful and like where Kiryu's at, and specifically where it's like the first time you beat Kuze, you're like, oh man, that was like an actual trial. But the 3rd and the 4th time you beat him, you're like, man, get the out of my way.
And then like Kiryu bows to him at the end too, when he's just like, oh yeah, you need to go over there. And he's like, okay. Bows to Kuze. It's like, okay,
game recognized game.
I'm in. They can be homies.
I think the secret MVP of this story really is Nishikiyama though.
Dude.
Like
it's so he's so insane.
I just when like in chapter 5, when he introduces Kiryu to Serena for the first time, like the Serena bar, and like Serena bar becomes like a very significant location in all the other games. But that doesn't really matter because like what happens there is like he introduces Kiryu to like Reina, and also they sing karaoke for the first time, and like the song they sing is Judgment, and you're like, damn, something's about to happen, isn't it? And like that just cascading into everything that happens with him saving Kiryu from Owano and driving him away into the forest. And I don't know what they were cooking with the Nishiki stuff in this game, but like they were like Michelin star food going on there.
Yeah, when you're just like the most dead end moment of the game, I feel like, is when he shows up too to help with the fight. Where oh, it's so good. And then like just the whole rest of it is just you and Nishiki running around.
When they take the shirts off at the same time, and they both reveal like their half finished tattoos.
It's so sick.
Goosebumps.
Yeah,
it's so funny. All the shirt ripping off too in the back half, where it's like it's so funny. Like there's one where Majima rips it off, and then you do the boss fight, and then he's still shirtless in the next scene. Like following up the fight, and then it like cuts to him doing something else, and he's all completely dressed again. And it's like 10 seconds later. Like it's not even. Oh, it's so good. It's so funny.
Yeah, I think because we talked about this in Like a Grappler, where we're talking about like Nishikiyama's. Well, it's not that. I was talking about like the role that Nishikiyama plays in the 2005 side versus the 1995 side, where. You know, like it's a very similar criticism that I have with Yakuza Kiwami, where the reason why so much of Kiwami works is because of what happened in Zero. And I think while it is possible to have like a good experience with Kiwami without having played Zero, I think it is one of the few times in the franchise where so much of Nishikiyama as a character is reliant on what happens here, because like this game does leaps and bounds to make Nishikiyama like an actual like blood brother to Kiryu. It also does that for some other characters from Kiwami 1, namely Sarah. Like Masaru Sarah is just a character in Kiwami 1 that shows up. He's gone pretty quickly. But here he has like a very significant role to play in this. So it is very interesting to see like what or which characters they decided to build up in this game, because they knew that maybe like, you know, this would help benefit the story of Kiwami more, or like help us better understand why things are the way they are.
Yeah, I love Nishitani.
Oh, Nishitani's great.
Nishitani was the jail cell scene is like I'm gonna remember. That's gonna get me to play another game, probably another Yakuza game. Like it's so sick.
His last stand. Oh god. Yeah.
It's so good, and the fight and all of it. Like the whole like soliloquy he gets it rolls.
It's so crazy because he's like a one-off character too. Like he's only there for like 2 or 3 chapters. Yeah. Right, but he does so much within those 2 or 3.
Like you just fight him.
Most of the time, you're just kicking a knife into his shin.
Yeah, he's so horny for you. You know, he's so horny for Majima. Beautiful.
Speaking of horny for other men, Jun Oda and like the whole thing with him and Tachibana, and you know the reveal that like the reason why Oda did so much of what he did was so that like he and Tachibana would stay together, right? Like, all right, that's crazy. You did all that. You did all that for one guy.
Pussy be popping.
I mean, you know,
what it do?
Speaking of laying your life on the line for someone else, Majima and Makoto, I think that they are the crux of this story. Like their story is like every time, like those last 4 chapters especially, like after Tachibana has died and like Makoto starts, you know, like slowly regaining her vision, everything with her and Majima there is just like everything in the game is great, but like those chapters specifically is like, oh
yeah,
they're really the takoyaki scene, man.
I wanted to stop playing. I'm like, no.
I had to pause the game after that. I was like,
why would you walk away? Why would you make me walk away? It's so good.
Like when it got to the point where it's like, oh, can you get me more takoyaki? I stayed for like a solid 10 minutes. I just like
stood there and I was like, no. The Ludo narrative dissonance.
Every single, like, you know what I would do? I would like walk a bit and then walk back, walk a bit, walk back, just to see if she'd like phased
Still
out
there.
or like the game had like like unrendered her. But like
Yeah.
I think you have to get like
Phased away.
real close to the takoyaki cart for her to like actually phase out of the game. But yeah, like that game, that part of the game, and like when Majima loses his resolve to live and like he gets beat up by those guys and you're like, damn bro, you were already at the lowest point in your life and now
I know. Oh yeah, that's like my favorite
Yeah.
stuff. And then when like him getting beat up and then him staying all bruised for the next couple of chapters, and then when he snaps and just beats the hell out of those guys. It's
so
perfect.
satisfying.
It's so
so
perfect.
satisfying.
And he sends them flying. It's so funny. Oh, it's so good. Oh, yeah. Like, such a good stretch of, like, just narrative there. Really good stuff.
Yeah. You know, one thing I found interesting about Majima's side of things, because I keep saying, like, this is the lowest point in his life. This is the lowest point in his life, is like, they weaved this plot out of pre-existing plots that were happening around this time. And, like, you get that in chapter 4, where you get the backstory between him and his brother in arms, Taiga Saejima, my boy Taiga. Because, like, that basically does explain why he is where he is right now. But, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, these games are a tapestry, right? And so much of it is like, how can we weave in this story here? How can we add in a story here? Like Kiwami 2 has a Majima side story, like a Majima saga that didn't exist in the original game. But it's like, okay, we can craft an entire narrative for Majima that takes place during this time. And I think that's one of the cool things that makes it very like comics-esque too, where it's like you have this ongoing narrative, but you can still like, you know, sprinkle in new bits and pieces of storytelling to like build out this world.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things about, like, I mean, comics have been doing this for forever, but like anything that's ongoing, you can retroactively do stuff. You know, you can just like throw it
And in this case, it doesn't really feel like
It works out.
retconning, though. You know, like
Yeah.
it feels very natural.
Yeah, but also it's the only time they go back in time, right?
Well, I mean, there are the segments in Yakuza 4, right, where like the plot is like the entire plot of the game is contingent on what happens in 1985 with the Ueno Seiwa massacre.
Yeah, but the games are always modern.
Like they take, they always take place
in
in,
the year they were released. So it's easier to go forward in time with these characters.
One thing I always wonder is if they're ever going to go back to like the very first chairman's era, like the very first chairman of the Tojo clan. Like that would have to be a story that takes place in like the 40s or 50s.
Assassin's Creed, Yakuza.
Yeah, like that's you know, it is like I don't know. Is that like carcinization where like every ongoing story at a certain point needs to go back to like the very beginning? Or like Avengers, you go through with Avengers long enough and you have to go back to 10 million BC.
You gotta do it. Like
You just gotta do it, you know? Like there's nowhere else to go in the present, so we might as well go all the way back.
they've always been here.
Yeah.
The aliens
but now
brought the
that they're
Yakuza.
doing so many spin-offs, like they can do
Well,
one
the spin-offs,
whenever
they can.
they want.
They absolutely
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they've already done Yakuza Ishin and Kenzan.
I feel like the Kiwami, obviously I haven't played it, so I don't know, but like a remake of a video game that adds canon while updating is also like a weird little tweak to all of this, you know, where it's like you don't re-release year one with like 0.5 chapters in between each one.
Gordon Saga.
Yeah, not that
Amazing.
DC wouldn't do that. Not
Yeah,
that
well, you never don't count them out.
Yeah.
not that similar things haven't happened, but it's like it's different. It's a weird thing. Yeah, it's cool. I'm not opposed to it or anything, but it's just like a very specific situation to really like video games. I feel like I don't feel like you can really pull that off in a, I guess. Well,
I mean, so much of this is like so much of this requires the video game format, where I don't think you can do this in many other formats, or at least like not without making a lot of concessions. And we talked about that in like a grappler. that like this is so unique to the video game medium. Like the ability to, like we were talking with the takoyaki sequence, the ludonarrative dissonance there is so contingent on you controlling Majima to actually go back to the cart.
And like not quitting. You could just stop playing the game, and it's like, no, they were happy. I don't know why. Like that's just how the game ends.
Yeah, it's crazy. Everything else magically resolved itself after that.
Nobody fought. Like cruise ship who? I don't know. What should yacht? I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like when the Simpsons, when they go to the retirement home, they're watching Gone with the Wind. Like it just ended to be a happy ending. It's like, wasn't there a war in this movie? Like, all right, we warned you already.
Yeah.
So when you get to the end, and it's really funny because a lot of people are expecting this game to like give an answer as to why Kiryu and Majima wear the outfits that they do. And I think it's really funny that for Kiryu's, it's not like, oh, this is like a significant thing. Or it's like, I like this jacket. I think I'm going to live life my own way. So it's not like it's thematically, it's weird where they're not quite surf Draculaing it, but at the same time, it fits within the thematic elements of this story where it's like Majima learned to let loose, and that's why he's wearing a snakeskin jacket now, right? Or like Kiryu is wearing this very tacky jacket and suit combo, this jacket and shirt combo, because it's what he likes, it's what he wants, it's his path.
He doesn't believe in black and white. So, no, Majima's is really funny because this is like, oh, we got a makeover. Like,
he went in for some Botox too.
Yeah, it's really funny. It's real good.
Yeah, went full shirtless too, which is the really funny thing where it's like he has this very prim and proper manager get up, and he's like, man, I just want to go. I just want to let loose. I'm showing nips. But yeah, anything else to say about the plot before we start wrapping things up here?
Let me look at notes. See.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in my notes either.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
So, Guy notwithstanding, has this game inspired you to pick up other games?
To join the Yakuza?
Has this inspired you to join the local mafia?
Just like getting a full body tattoo tomorrow.
Like I'm moving. I'm not moving. There's not a Yakuza near here, so
I'm going for the full back tattoo tomorrow.
I just sent my resume into the local Yakuza chapter in Paris. Fingers crossed.
I almost bought the collection, the Black Friday sale they had. It's like $40, but so there's two things. One, I was like, I have a lot of games to play, and there were cheaper games on sale that I also wanted to play. So I was like, I can spend less for other games. Then the other thing was it also contains Zero, and I'm like, that's a little bit annoying. I have to bought Zero twice. And then the third thing was Yakuza goes on sale like 15 times a year. Like it's constantly on sale.
Yep. It's currently on sale right now.
Buy them separately.
What?
It's cheaper to buy them separate.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I could just buy Kiwami when it's at like $5 at some point and just play that one. But I almost certainly will at some point. It's not a priority, but I do want to play them. They're fun. This was fun enough that I'm like, oh, I'll do it. Especially because you've promised me that they're shorter. So
yeah, one is pretty short. Like one is much shorter comparison to
You
Zero.
promised me they're shorter.
You promised me they're shorter.
That's like the biggest selling point.
It is.
You promised.
This was
one is a much quicker experience because I think the sub stories are also like a significant degree worse than Zero, where like half the sub stories in one are Kiryu almost getting scammed, and then like there's like a solid chunk where it's just like weird transphobia too. Or like almost transphobia. Yeah, anyway, there are other games that are much quicker. I managed to beat Yakuza 6 in 2 weeks, easy.
Nice.
Easy. So, it's all a matter of commitment, guys. If there's anything that we can take away from this episode, and if there's anything we can take away from doing this podcast for 100 episodes, it's about commitment. You know, committing to doing 100 episodes over 2
Salt
years
has really been a good example of that.
Salt has been fantastic when it comes to commitment. He is
Sorry,
like one of
I
the
had to
most
take the
committed
dig in.
people.
Did you ever get free? Did we ever figure that out?
Free salt. Free
Free
salt.
salt,
seen
you know,
him.
free salt.
So,
Well, he's so committed that he's only showed up for like 2 episodes out of the
He's
past
just
5
committed to
years.
the bit. He's just committed to this bit now.
Yeah.
congratulations.
You know, if you
Salt.
made it, listen, if you made it this far into the episode, tag us on Bluesky and say free salt, or like comment on this episode, say free salt. Yeah,
That's
you know
very
what?
meaningful.
We'll wrap it up on that note. Free salt. Before we get to our tastemakers grab bag, also to give Guy some time in case he hasn't picked out his picks for tastemakers grab bag, we'll do the usual spiel. As always, this show is made possible thanks to contributions from listeners like you. This show has made it to 100 episodes thanks to listeners like you. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/midnightgrappleranimals. $2 a month gets you uncensored episodes a week earlier than the public, as well as the ability to vote on future episode topics. And $5 a month gets you not only that, but our entire backlog of bonus episodes, including the Like a Grappler duology that we kept mentioning in this episode, as well as other Patreon exclusive series and exclusive channels on our Discord server. You can support us through morale by giving us a good review on your podcast app of choice. And for comments, questions, or suggestions for the show, you can email us at midnightgrappleranimals@gmail.com. If you want to find the links to our Discord server as well as our Bluesky pages, you can find that in the description of this episode. All right, Tastemakers Grab Bag. What have we got?
I can go first. I'm gonna have 2. I'll start off with the more general one. I bought NBA League Pass, and
Nice.
I'm just enjoying basketball.
Nice.
I watched a lot while playing Yakuza 0, as a matter of fact, my iPad, and I'm just enjoying it in general. I'm not really necessarily going to recommend League Pass because it's kind of janky, especially on television. But I'm just liking it. A lot of Jared McCain TikToks that are the best thing I've ever seen, and yeah, just loving basketball right now. I'm living it. So that's one, and then Spider Girl, the Falco.
Yeah, DeFalco Friends.
Yeah, friends. They're doing the Modern Epic collections. They just released Volume 5 like 2 weeks ago, so they've only released 1 and 5. I've only read 5, which is kind of fun. I was like, how good is this? Can I jump right in? And like, it's almost frustrating how easy it is to jump in because every single issue is like a Silver Age not a Silver Age comic, like it introduces everything about the comic, like every issue, which is a little bit annoying, but it gets so efficient at it, or it is so efficient at it that it's not really noticeable either. Really good, like just good Spider-Man comics. I can totally imagine a reality where
a reality where comics are good.
Yeah. Well, like, I can imagine 20 years of this book instead of the 10 it got, you know? And then, like, I'm not sure I can imagine what happens after that, but instead of it just being Peter Parker forever, I can totally see why so many people got burnt by this not being a real thing, and then just not existing at all, like the MC2 stuff being gone basically forever too. Really good, though. Like, totally worth the read. Totally worth the download. Wink.
Nice.
And that's mine. Those are my Peacemaker grab bags.
Nice. Serg, Guy?
Guy, you want to go or do you want me to go?
No, you can go first.
Okay. I'm going to throw out Kneecap's album Fine Art. I don't think I've recommended it yet. Kneecap is an Irish independent Republicanist hip hop group. They're super lefty and they're super fun. They recently just won a lawsuit against the UK because they had funding for their arts taken away, and they sued them and got it back and then donated it. So that's sick. Fun. They have a movie that came out with Michael Fassbender too, like a fictionalization of their lives. But yeah, their album's a lot of fun. They're just a good group. Go check them out.
Awesome. Guy?
I've been watching an anime. That's something I don't usually do.
Really? Is this
Yeah,
true?
I prefer manga. I don't watch anime much. It's Humiko Takahashi's Rama 1.5. It's uh, it's a romantic comedy with some action adventure. I don't know how to describe it. It's like Scotch Pilgrim for Japan.
That's such a good way to describe it.
And I've been reading the manga too, because of the anime. I'm watching it with my girlfriend. It's the first time we've been watching an anime together, and we've been really enjoying it. Yeah.
Nice. I am unsurprisingly going to recommend Yakuza 6. Because I finished that earlier last week, and I don't think I've cried as much playing a Yakuza game as I did Yakuza 6, and I wasn't even expecting to. But like there are so many narrative beats in there that are like, like the entire prologue is like one of the best prologues I've seen in any Yakuza game ever. And you know, I was talking earlier about like the Daigo stuff. Like a lot of the Daigo stuff comes to a head in Yakuza 6, and it's just like, so it's a fantastic narrative experience. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah, that's it for me. That's it for my Tastemakers grab bag. That's it for everyone's Tastemakers grab bag. Well, this is the end of the 100th episode. And as always, not just for this episode, but for any other episode that you've listened to prior to this one, thank you for listening. And as always,
keep on grappling.
Keep on grappling.
Oh, Guy did it too. How nice.
I almost said keep on playing. I almost said keep on playing Yakuza, but I didn't.
Gotta hit 102 hours. I didn't make a single CP joke. Damn.
Oh yeah.
Not one.
One of the main like upgrade metrics in this game is called CP. Yeah.
I became
you gotta record the whole thing over again.
I became
I guess we're going to
blind to it. You know, early on I was like putting
it's
CP
very quick. You can get numb to it very quick. Yeah.
Just became
you know, it's about narrative growth. You know, it's about
there we go.
You've matured. The experience changed you, and you no longer have to make those jokes anymore.
I can just see
like a Phoenix reborn.
I know it's funny.
You know, Chris Paul.
Yeah, so funny. The best. The best.